And welcome to Maple Leafs Man Advantage. I'm Hawkeye. I haven't put a video on here in a little while. Been watching a lot of the playoff hockey, but today's the day. The Leafs were eliminated from the playoffs last night at home to the Florida Panthers um, by a 6-1 score. An absolute trouncing that I would say the Leafs might have played 10 minutes of hockey in that game, and it's a 60-minute game, and they didn't look good whatsoever. I'll get to that a little bit later. So I'll go through the series. I didn't see every game. Sometimes I was working afternoons or had to get to bed, so I might have missed the last 10 minutes of the game in some cases. But I did see the first two opening games, and boy, oh boy, it definitely felt like, hey, maybe this year is different for the Toronto Maple Leafs, winning both of those games. In game three, it was very close. They lost uh, in overtime, and then lost again in game four. Uh, Lost 6-1, just like game seven in game five. Luckily, I missed that. I did see replays of the goals, and it was terrible. It was awful how they were playing defensively or where they were putting the puck. Behind the back passes from your own zone, from the boards up the center of the ice. Uh, yeah, didn't like that. Um, was not a very good competitive game for games five and game seven. Um, I know a lot of Leaf fans, and they were very excited after two games. And I was saying, hey, if we can get down to Florida, if we can just take one of those games, I'm going to feel even better. You're one step closer to maybe getting to the semifinals here. Um, but they didn't win either of those games, and they looked absolutely awful when they came back home. Um, I absolutely right now I'm going to be giving Florida credit. Uh, Here it comes because they've been in the Stanley Cup Finals 2 years in a row. They won the Stanley Cup last year. They're veterans. They know how to win. They know how to get it done. And I don't think they're as good as they were last year. Um, but they got better with the addition of like Seth Jones and Brad Marchand, um, adding those guys to the team. But hey, they know how to get things done. They looked really good last night. It looked kind of like NHLers against guys playing junior hockey. The Leafs looked like they were stuck in the mud. They were extremely slow, and I know they're not that slow. Um, and Florida was beating them to the puck or battles with the puck. Toronto just wasn't ready. But I think that comes down to your players, because I'm pretty sure Berube's got a game plan, wants you to stick with it, and is, saying what he needs to be said to prepare you for the game. But they didn't look ready. And then when they did, it was like half a period. And then, the first 10 minutes of the game, they looked absolutely awful. I think they were showing a stat in the game. First 21 shot attempts were all by the Florida Panthers. That is beyond horrific. Um, and what have you. Um, I don't sit down and count all those chances out. A lot of them didn't get to the net, but it's still, those were attempts at the net. Um, but yeah, Florida got it done. Bobrovsky played well. The goal Toronto did score last night. There's a bit of an odor to it, but he was good enough. Like, he didn't need to make a million saves last night. His team scored 6 goals. So he didn't have to be terrific in the net. He had 21 shots on him, I think, saved 20. So he definitely uh, did well. And I think after the first two games, he got better. He got better in the net after those two opening games in Toronto. Now, I gotta say this. Definitely the Leaf series, those two against Ottawa and then Florida. These are the series I'm really paying attention to. I'm also watching other games. Um, but the reffing. No, I'm not gonna say that's the reason why we didn't make it. No way. Um, in my opinion, last night they let everything go. And there might have been one penalty, like Kulikov. I think he might have charged Brian, or not Brian, Jake McCabe. His skates were off the ice. That's charging. That's always a penalty, but they let it go. But beyond that, I don't know. There wasn't really anything horrible out there. And I like that. I like them let the players decide the game. Now, earlier in the series, and this is going to go both ways. It's not just all against Toronto, but Stolar's um, getting his bell rung there by Sam Bennett. No call. He totally meant to elbow him in the head. Or even Lawton. He drilled Rodriguez from behind, and then Rodriguez gets an embellishment call. I'm not sure if you've ever been hit from behind. I have, and there's nothing you can do. And you kind of saw that on the replay as his face was smashed into the glass. Yep, he's really embellishing there. Um, but Toronto got away with that one, and Florida did not get a power play, and it was like, my gosh, that was a horrible board. Um, but the refs just sort of let that stuff go, and then they would call the chintzy stuff, like, um, you know, but I didn't like the refing. In the end, though, I was fine with it. I was. I'm not. I'm not saying, oh boy, we're gonna get another Kurt Fraser high stick here that nobody sees, and then they score a goal. I wasn't getting myself prepared for that, but I didn't like the roughing, um, at all, and I don't understand the frame of mind of it's the playoffs. Okay, but some of that is always a penalty. You can't, you know. Marner got an elbow to the head. I don't know how the ref didn't see it because I'm pretty sure he had the puck. And it was obvious. Just let that go. That is always a penalty. You can't just throw elbows in guys' heads. But anyways, I'm gonna move off that now. So we're gonna take a look. So Florida advances. They're in the semifinals. They're playing the Carolina Hurricane. Um, Florida's good. They're probably the favorite in the series, but I gotta say, nobody is giving Carolina any credit at all. They have the best record so far in the playoffs. They're 8-2. They're cleaning teams out quick. They keep control of the puck from what I see. Not getting many shots against them sometimes. Um, they're getting it done. And Brindamore behind the bench there for Carolina. So I don't know. I'm not going to say who's going to win that series, but don't count Carolina out. They've been trying to make this step for a while, and maybe this is their pushing point or their jumping point, I guess, maybe to get to the finals. And then Dallas and Edmonton, the other side in the West there. I think this is going to be a 7-game series. It's going to be great, I hope. Um, but I'm going to say, I know everybody's cheering for Edmonton around me, but I'm just saying, well, look out for Dallas. They're getting it done, and then they have guys that haven't scored yet for them. Like I don't think Robertson has, or Matt Duchene. If those guys can add to the goal totals, and you still got Miko Ranton in there, um, Harley on the point. Uh, hey, you might want to watch out for those guys. And they're been trying to make a push for the cup too. So um, should be, I hope, a couple of good series. Starts Tuesday night with Florida and Carolina, I believe. But hopefully you get a couple good series out of that there. Now, The rest of the video, I'm kind of going to do this. I've been doing this a little more freestyle. I got a little bit written down, but not much. I usually got a lot more written out, but um, I'm going to talk about the Leafs. Um, and I'm not sure if I went into this in any great detail. I think I may have about the Leafs and their problems in the playoffs, um, and how they continue to happen. And Brendan Shanahan, the president of MLSE for the Leafs here, um, they or he, sorry, has not doubled down or tripled down, but like just every single year stuck with these guys. And there was a stat before the game last night, um, and I think I got it correct, where Matthews, Marner, and Tavares, all three of them in game sevens for Toronto, they have exactly 0 goals. Wendell Clark, just one guy, he scored 6. So, yeah, there might be, there's something to look at there. And that's not like this is the first time this has happened. They've gone through a number of game sevens. Usually they're not very close. It was against Boston last year. Um, and they just couldn't score on the power play last year. Couldn't get it done. But this, to me, this was the worst. I know that game against Boston when they're up 4-1 with 7 minutes left and then they lost it. That was bad, really bad. But this is worse. Um, at least in that game they played like almost, not quite, but almost a whole game. This they didn't. They played half a period, and I, as a Leafs fan, um, it was disgraceful. Didn't like it um, at all. I'm beyond sick of this. This happening every year. It was interesting yesterday. I was wearing my Wendell Clark jersey. I went to my local Walmart and there was guys there, like, hey, nice jersey, brother, talk to me about the Leafs and hey, how are they going to do tonight? And there was this one old guy in there. He was wearing a Leafs jacket and a hat, and he even had the Leafs watch, everything. Um, and he said, "Well, I'm used to disappointment," and was he ever right? You come to expect it, um, and which is really unfortunate because man, oh man, they got a lot of skill on this team. They just cannot get it done in the playoffs. When it's time to get it done, it doesn't happen. Um, so what do the Leafs do here? Because um, you got John Tavares, you got Mitch Marner. Their contracts are going to be ending July the 1st, I think, and then they'll be free agents at that point. Um, yeah, like, and I don't want to make it seem like I'm overreacting here, but it seems like there's been no reaction to the rest of them or the correct reaction um, to these past playoff failures in the playoffs. I would within a month, I would relieve Brendan Shanahan of his duties, and I would then name Brad Treliving the president and general manager of the team. One last voice. Okay, Brad. Um, the ball is in your court here. Let's see what you can do. Giving him time to do the job properly, because you're going to need him at the 1st of July. And guys, that's less than 2 months. I want him in those positions. And I like things that Treliving's done or additions he's made to the team, like Anthony Stolarz, Chris Tanev. Um, those are big additions, and I like them. Even Oliver Ekman-Larsson, he's been good too, I think. So every addition or everything he's done, some of them were head scratchers and still are. Uh, but the additions outweighed the negatives, and that's good. Um, but I really do think one person should hold that position. And interestingly, I think four people have had that. That's a short list, but Cliff Fletcher, Ken Dryden, Pat Quinn, and Brian Burke, I think, are the only guys to ever hold that title. And it's kind of a mixed bag there, but I also look at that and I say, well, the most successful years Toronto's had in the playoffs, that's been going on. Even though I think with Pat Quinn, it was um, no, Pat Quinn didn't do that because he was the coach and general manager. I'm sorry. Um, which I don't think that should be going on. But anyways, it's a very short list of guys that have had both of those titles, and I think that is what needs to happen here. Give those positions to one guy. And then here comes the overreaction. Some may say, I don't think it is. Um, in my opinion, with the Leafs, there is absolutely no one, no one on this team that's untouchable. Now, in saying that, there are guys I'm not really looking to trade, like Matthew Nyes. I'm looking to re-sign him. I like what I saw. I would like to re-sign him. I'm not looking to, hey, call Montreal. Hey, do you want Matthew Nyes? No, that's not what I'm going to do. But if I got a deal in the works and he's a part of it, but man, I love what I'm getting. Let's go. Let's sign that paper. Let's make that trade. Now I'm not saying I would be in here looking to trade everyone off this team. No. Um, but I think what you can do is one trade or one big trade um, out of Toronto. And I'm going to have to say it, Mitch Marner and John Tavares. I don't know if this is offensive, but I wouldn't even give them an offer. Um, but maybe I'm not a general manager. Maybe I have to because, hey, we just to show some gratitude for what you did in Toronto during the regular season. We were awful before you came here, but I they don't get it done in the playoffs. I'm sorry. Um, and then there are other free agents available, like Brad Marchand. Brock Nelson is another one. Sam Bennett. Although I think does Bennett and for living have a history, and I don't know if it was good in Calgary. If so, maybe not on that one. But there are guys available that I think you put on the team, and I keep hearing, oh, we wouldn't be as good without Marner. We wouldn't be as good without Tavares. Well, I don't know. You're gonna have a different team. Those guys aren't on your team, but you need to fill the holes that you know you have with guys that can do it. I know Brock Nelson can score goals. That's good. I know Marchand can as well, but boy, oh boy, does he play with an edge uh, and gets right under your skin. And in the playoffs against Toronto in Game Sevens, he's 5-0. Why don't you go out and sign that guy to a contract? Because he's not going to be able to beat you next year if he's on your team. And then maybe you can upend somebody else. That's my thought on it. And then in addition with guys like that, I'm kind of thinking forwards that you can sign because with Marner and Tavares leaving, those are big holes. Those guys really get it done in the regular season. Um, but um, I think, as I said, there's a trade that you can make here, and I think Treliving should sit down and talk with Austin Matthews. And I guess he's hurt. Whatever. I think the Kachuk brothers were hurt too. One of them's in the semifinals now. So, um, and Brady played well against Toronto. So, okay. Um, but I'm pretty sure because these are always given out in Toronto. Matthews has a no move clause. I would find out from him what are the 10 teams if you can get a list that high. If not, I don't know. Five, whew, less than that. Oh boy. But teams that you'd be willing to move to and see if we can work out a deal with one of these teams. And hopefully, um, this is the toughest thing to get in hockey, I think. Um, and maybe it's impossible to get in a trade, but if you could get yourself a true blue number one defenseman in a trade like that, because I think you could get a lot for Austin Matthews. This guy scored 69 goals. Um, I think he's won the Hart twice. Mm. Led the league in goals three times. You can get a lot for a guy like that. So he's the guy. He's the guy to trade. I think I could be wrong. And I don't want to be disrespectful to Austin Matthews or Marner or Tavares, but that's the idea I would have in my head. And then by making that trade, um, and filling some holes maybe through some free agency, there's not a whole like I'd keep my goalies there. My defense, even though they looked slow last night, I like what I got out of them for most of the season. So I think that's what, in my head, Toronto needs to do. But we're gonna find out, see what happens. And as Elite fans always know, maybe next year, right? Maybe next year. So that's it. So yeah, if you like this video, I'd appreciate it if you hit like or subscribe. Got other videos on here as well about NHL. And if you want to comment on anything, go ahead and do so. So try to be respectful. If you totally disagree with everything I said, that's okay. I'm not running the team anyways. We all know that. But yeah, anyways, there is still some playoff hockey going on, and I hope you guys enjoy it and have yourself a wonderful day.